With little help and proper equipment, anybody can take good photographs. A simple 35mm camera is all that is needed to do excellent quality work. Keep in mind, you don't have to clean everything, but you want to clean what the camera is going to see. Needless to say, we don't clean the other side of the truck, we only clean the side that we're going to photograph. Look for a place that's not distracting and that gives a good background for the vehicle. Be careful of highline poles, cracks in the pavement, and road signs. Yeah, this is a good spot here. Very uncluttered. I think this will do her. Good afternoon. I'm Biddle from PhotoCard. I'm very glad you could join us. Today we're going to go over some pointers on how to take photographs of your truck. Okay, first thing you want to do is check the overall appearance of the vehicle. In this particular case, you want to know, do you want the license plate on or off? Do you have some license plates hanging on down below? Do you want them in or out of the picture? On the older trucks, they had louvers that open and close. Again, do you want them open or closed? Check the overall appearance of the vehicle. Check for your citizens band radios and your antennas. Make sure that they're in an up position or at least straight. Check your windshield wipers. Is that the way you want them, or do you want them in a different position? Check for possible broken glass, anything that'll show up in the photograph. Over in this area, try to get your wheel straight, or of course if you want it at an angle, feel free to put it that way. On the side of the vehicle, check for any scratches or dents. Not that you can fix it today, but you may be able to eliminate that dent, or at least to not show it so well, by positioning of the camera. Check back in here again. Anything that deters from the photograph, is there anything underneath the vehicle? Any hoses hanging down, anything in the windows that you don't want, such as maybe a bear or a Garfield or something that you don't want your customer to see. Now let's grab our camera, take a look through the lens and see what we're going to end up with. As I said before, we have the vehicle positioned. We're going to have to take a look at the background to see what we don't want in the photograph. From what I can see here, we have a telephone pole approximately a quarter mile away, which shouldn't bother us. On the right-hand side here, down over the hill, we have some houses. Other than that, that seems to be our only obstruction. I do note that on the left-hand side, there are some fence posts. We have to be careful so we don't get them in the photograph. Now, in order to get rid of the houses or fence posts, what we simply do is to kneel down. And as we kneel down, because we're on a hill, we just completely get rid of the unwanted objects. The way it looks with the pavement and the nice snow, it looks just beautiful. I can eliminate all of the houses, and I can also eliminate the high lines in the background. What we have here is some basics just to get the truck clean, but it's perfect for doing the photograph. Some type of vinyl cleaner and some type of wax that'll make the tires shine. Some black paint to paint the tires, some white paint if you have a white truck or white fenders on the inside, some plain old glass cleaner for doing the truck and or the windows, and some good old household wax which is good on the tires. Get yourself a couple rags and go to work. This truck was relatively clean when we left the shop because the roads were quite dirty. We're going to have to clean it a little bit when we get here. What you want to do is, first of all, clean the bright, shiny areas that may be scratched by dirty towels. Start out with a good clean towel. Just to get some of the grime off. Be careful all the time that you don't want to end up getting a rock or something on the rag such that you cause the paint to be scratched. As you're washing the vehicle like this, constantly be aware that rocks, dirt and grime is getting trapped on the rags, so you don't start with these rocks to scratch your vehicle. As this is a newer truck, we don't have to worry about any of the chrome, but in some cases you may have to take some chrome cleaner to clean it up. Or in some cases aluminum cleaner, depending on the material. As we're cleaning, keep in mind you don't have to clean everything, but you want to clean what the camera is going to see. Needless to say, we don't clean the other side of the truck. We only clean the side that we're going to photograph. Yeah, that looks pretty good. We'll clean the bottom here a little bit. Okay. As we use a lot of rags, we find it very economical to buy the used towel dispensers from the local vending company. They have them cleaned for us, and we just continue to use them. Make sure that you don't use the type that are the dark blue in color because they usually have a lot of grease on them. Try to get the white ones that are used in a restaurant or whatever, similar to this. I've seen several people cleaning their truck and to get some of the bugs off. Of course, there's no bugs right now, but to get the bugs off, they've used SOS pads. Needless to say, don't use them. It's one sure way of scratching the paint. It would be nice to have a garden hose out here today versus doing this, but this here's going to work just fine. As I said before, constantly turn your rag and get clean rag so that you're not taking the grime and transferring it or scratching your paint. The rags are a lot cheaper than a new paint job. Now, as you're cleaning the chrome, as we won't be photographing this area, I'm not going to clean it. Also, as you're cleaning, keep in mind you're constantly looking for areas that you may not be aware of that are going to show up in the photograph. An example would be this mud flap right here. You may forget to clean it, but once you have the photograph developed, you wish you had. In some cases, if you have a white mud flap and it becomes very dirty, there's nothing wrong in taking some white paint and painting the mud flap. It's not going to hurt anything, and it'll wear off after a few miles. Yeah, that seems to look pretty good. In some cases, it's not necessary to clean the back tandems. One of the things that seems to really stand out in any truck is your front wheel. It's almost like a focal point of the photograph. Remember to get all areas that are going to show up in the photograph, even underneath and behind the wheel. In this particular case, we'll use some paint to make this good and black, but of course make sure it's good and clean before you start out. what we're going to use today is some Armor All to get the areas such as the tires and the rubber real good and black. Try to use a very non-absorbent material, or else all your Armor All will be soaked up in the rag. As you do the tire, just be careful of overspray. Wipe it all down. The sun is good and hot, it's going to evaporate very fast, so you might want to put it in the shade, or else just expect to use a lot of it. Make sure you get down good and low next to the pavement so no spots are missing. In this area, Armor All will work, but I think what we'll use is paint, because it's quite dirty. When you're using the black paint to spray on this area, make sure you're guarding the areas you don't want painted. Get down good and low from any area you think is going to be seen by the camera. That looks pretty good. Now, up in this area, it's real hard to get the Armor All into the grooves, so what we do, take a piece of cardboard again to stop the wind from carrying our paint all over the truck. And to physically paint the areas around the edges to fill in the areas that will be photographed. I've seen people use brake fluid. Definitely don't use that. It's very hard on the rubber. Something else you want to do, something you don't think of until you take the photograph, and that is to do the treads. It's impossible to get the Armor All in there. With a little black paint, it ends up looking very nice. Again, there's no reason to paint clear up underneath the wheel well, because you're not going to be photographing that. However, make sure you do get good and low from where the camera's going to see. There, that looks pretty good. Something else you may want to consider, and that's painting the other side of the tire from the opposite that you're doing the photograph. In this particular case, we got the sun setting quite fast, and by the time we do the photograph, it's a good possibility this is going to be illuminated by the sun. You also may want to paint the front axle. In this case we won't, because we've got a very low bumper and it won't be seen. Again, put some paint on the underside of the tread. Don't forget to do the inside tandem, inside dual. Sun's going to illuminate that. I want to make sure that's all good, deep black. I recommend using the cardboard when doing painting. Sure, no reason to leave black paint all over the highway or the parking lot. We won't paint the inside dual on this one because it won't be seen. One of the last things you want to do is step back and see if you missed anything. In this particular case, we missed some underneath. Give it kind of a once going over. Make sure the chrome is good and clean. Yeah, that looks pretty good. We should recommend the type of camera to use. In this particular case, a 35mm camera is all that is needed to produce excellent quality photographs. This particular camera that I use has a zoom lens on it. However, the standard lens that comes with your camera will work just fine. As far as the film speed to use, we recommend using 100 ASA film for best results. And for our purposes, we have found that we have truer colors if we use Fujifilm, and we use that in all of our photography. You might want to consider investing in a polarizer. What the polarizer will do is bring out the true colors in the truck. We're getting a lot of glare from the sun. If we turn the polarizer on the video camera, you can see that it brings the truck into its more truer colors. It gets rid of the glare. It also makes the windshield look good in black, and the tires look good in black. And also, some cases, it even makes the sky look real deep blue versus a kind of a hazy. Something else you might want to consider investing in, and that's a filter system. The one I have here can be purchased for less than $100 at any photo store. What it consists of is a ring that simply screws into the end of your camera. You then have a bracket that slips onto the ring. It'll snap right into place. We then have what this is a blue gradient filter. It simply slips into one of the grooves onto the bracket, and what we'll do is we'll bring it down to the top of the truck such that we give the sky a real deep color. It easily can be moved up or down to compensate for the height of the truck. This also works good for whether it be a single tractor or a trailer. It can easily be turned either way. We also even have a filter that is green, which comes from the bottom, such that if you have brown grass, you can bring this filter in from the bottom to the bottom of the tires, and you got real deep green grass. Let's take a look at some examples and see how I've used some of these suggestions. You had mentioned about the type of pavement or grass or whatever you should have underneath the vehicle when you take the photograph. Well, it's nice to have grass in most cases, or a good solid blacktop. There's nothing wrong, as you can see, to have some real bright sand. On this particular case, we had a river in the background which you can just barely see, and with a nice sand, it complemented the truck very well. We also used a blue graduated haze filter to increase the sky's blue color. The only problem I can see with this one is it's taken at an angle. So, or a straight-on shot, what we should do there is take it a little bit at an angle again to show the front of the truck, so I can tell the make. It also gives it a little bit more depth. To be realistic, to do a front photo shot identical to this one, or very similar to this one, you should expect to have only maybe 4 or 5 tractors in this. We mentioned before that if you have 2, you park them as close as practical. If you have more than 2, what you want to do is to park them such that the bumper of the one vehicle is in line with the rear cab of the other vehicle. If you have a series of, let's say, 20 or 30 semi-tractors, what you do there then is you park them and take the front bumper and put it about where the front window of the tractor would start. That way you can get a probably 10 or 15 in there and not be too wide of angle of photograph, so that you start losing the clarity of the vehicles in the photo. These series of photographs here show that you can take a photograph before rain, after rain, and in a couple of them here, even during a rain. This one here, while it's not a great photograph for composition because we have a light pole in the background, it was a very cloudy day. It just had got through raining, and the blacktop here was very light colored. But once the rain hit it, it made it turn into a very, very beautiful photograph to do. On this one here, as this truck had traveled several hundred miles and to do the photograph, once it arrived in our area, it was raining quite hard. What we did in this particular case is take the truck out during the rain, parked it along the rain-drenched highway, and we built a canvas-type enclosure to house the camera and the operator, and we photographed right during the rain. The only thing to keep in mind is to have the raindrops, per se, be at least 5 to 10 feet away from the end of the camera, because it's possible that the camera will pick up the rain as it streaks across the photographs. But I recall this one here was raining quite hard, and yet the photograph turned out beautiful. It also made the truck look like it just had been waxed, and the trailer was in fact somewhat dirty, yet the rain made it look like it just had been washed. This is a photograph again taken immediately after a storm. It's not real likely that you'll get it such that the storm is passing away and then the sun comes out and strikes the truck. But we kind of lucked out on this one. And again, it shows a pavement all bright and shiny from the rain, the dark clouds in the background, and the truck still wet from the rain. And yet the truck is lit by the sun, which had just come out behind us. It turned out to be a very nice photograph. In some cases, it's beneficial to have some type of object in the back. As you can see, this glassed-in enclosure made a perfect background for this here particular vehicle. Of course, if you had this truck and if it was in silver in color, it might not stand out as well. But in this particular case, it turned out real well. Also, on this particular date, again, it was raining quite hard. It had just cleared up and it was sprinkling. But as you can see, it brings out very much truer colors. And I recall laying on the grass such that it brought the grass right up to the bottom of the tires to indicate that the truck was parked on the grass. And on this photograph, because it had a multicolored design on the truck, we went to a park where there was some flowers similar to it. We took a photograph of the truck, of course, in the flowers. This one here is bordering on being too complicated because of the fact that it has a light pole in the background, and also there's a large motel in the background. On this particular shot, we were trying to do quite a few different things. First of all, we wanted to show the Peterbilt sign, which is approximately 100 or so yards behind the truck. It's probably 30 feet across. We also wanted to show the reflectorized stripes on the truck. We also wanted, of course, to have the truck show up. We picked a red color because while it's not as great as white, white will show up much more, of course, at night. It still is a very bright truck, and it showed up real good for us, and it also matched the Peterbilt logo type sign in the background. This here was taken with just a flash. As you can see, the flash bled off from the ground, and it very much showed the stripes. On this particular one here, we wanted to create kind of a dramatic type photograph, so what we did is we used a Star-Bright filter. This here is a Star-Bright filter with it's a 4-star with 4 points. Each point that is very bright will give off a 4-point type star. Up in this area, even though you can see the stars or the lines going all different directions, basically what it is, it's a series of 4-point stars going in all directions. That's why it gives the illusion of being multiple, of a multiple type star. It's in fact one star that has been widened. You see the dramatic effect that we achieved here. This one here, we turned the lights on it, and we wanted to get more of a side shot, so what we did is we lined up 3 or 4 other tractors and put the headlights on the truck, and then we also used a flash. We set the exposure on here for, if I recall, about a second, such that it brought more of the Peterbilt sign into the, or made the Peterbilt sign brighter versus the one that was back in here where it wasn't quite as bright. We wanted to have the Peterbilt sign shine up more, show up more. This again, the only difference is it's a little bit more it's a little bit closer, and also we turned the fog lights on the truck. We used a flash, and again, all of the other semi-tractors parked their lights on. And we also increased the exposure time to keep the Peterbilt sign as bright as possible. Now that you've got the photographs, let's show you what we can do with the negatives once we get them in our plant. From the negatives, we can make business cards, postcards, 2 different sizes, calendars, greeting cards, as well as our photo wood products, which we pour a durable resin over the top of it to make it easy to clean, and it looks just plain beautiful. We also make belt buckles with the same durable resin coating, as well as pen sets. We also have different sizes of clocks, all of which we make from a 35mm negative that you can send into our plant. Let's show you what else we can have done. We have other clocks, belt buckles. Of course, we make them not only for trucks, cars, fire trucks. We have award plaques for drivers. We also have weather instrument plaques with different items for the weather. Maybe something for your desk. This here's with the international logo. Now let's show you how we make some of these items. Once we receive the orders, we process them in this here department. We then take the orders upon completion, bring them down into our department that does our typesetting. This machine typesets the numbers and the letters into the proper sizes. We then take this information, bring it into our layout department where we take the negative and the typesetting and put it into one item such that we can take it to our printing department to begin printing of the different individual item. This is one of our 8 photo printers. This one is used for business cards, postcards, and greeting cards. Let's show you some other machines that we have. What we're doing right now is processing the film. The printer you saw before this prints and processes the individual prints. We have other photo printers that just print business cards or postcards. We then have to process the film. The film is processed into rolls of business cards. With the machines we have at this time, we have the capacity of 100,000 cards every 8-hour workday. Let's show you what some of our other printers. These machines are dedicated exclusively to business cards or postcards. Each machine has a capacity of 2,000 business cards or postcards per hour. This here's the final process in the making of the photo business card. Here's where we cut the individual business card. After cutting, we then ship them to you, our customer. We very much appreciate your viewing today. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call. We're PhotoCard specialists located in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Our toll-free number is 1-800-727-4488. Thank you.